Now with more, editor-in-chief of JusticeNews.com, John Solomon, with some breaking news tonight. John, what do you got?
Yeah, listen, for the first time, we have confirmation that the FBI and the Justice Department believes it over-collected evidence when it was at Mar-a-Lago, meaning it collected evidence that was not covered by the search warrant. Tonight, I have confirmed from two different sources that the Justice Department called President Trump's defense lawyers today, confirming that they did take his 3 passports. They are making arrangements to send it back, saying they are obligated to return it because it's outside the scope of the subpoena. They have also informed the Trump defense lawyers, the Justice Department has, over the last few days, that there's likely privileged materials that the FBI collected that now has to be segregated and returned to the president. Those privileges could be attorney-client privilege or, more likely, executive privilege. Now, this is remarkable. I talked to a lot of FBI people today who told me this warrant was already remarkably broad. They basically go in and get anything that looked like a presidential record, to then collect something like a passport, which most agents can recognize pretty quickly, or privileged documents, raised concerns among career FBI officials. You're going to see some of them quoted in my story tomorrow about just how this raid was conducted and the sort of lack of precision that was carried out during this raid.
You know, John, I'm looking at all this, and you and I covered this whole story about corruption at the upper levels of the FBI. Sure. Director Wray was supposed to clean it up. Why didn't he?
It's a great question, right? I think a lot of people I talk to say if you don't have accountability for the people who did it before, you never clean up the system that comes after it. The temptation to do these things, to go overly broad, to cheat on a warrant or to mislead a court or mislead Congress is high because really no one paid a terrible penalty for what happened during Russia collusion. And I think most of the experts I've talked to in the last 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, are we back at another point that looks like Russia? Increasingly, they're saying, yes, that the basic rules are not being followed. Even if the FBI has a good reason to look for something, the rules aren't being followed. And I think the reason is there really hasn't been a consequence for cheating or breaking the rules in the most recent past.
Well, we will stop them. And if your plan doesn't work, we've got an insurance policy. No penalty. John Solomon, editor-in-chief, JusticeNews.com. Thank you. Joining us now is the attorney for President Trump. Lindsay Halligan is with us. I want to very specifically, are there other items that you can name besides the passports that were taken that should never have been taken?
That's the thing. We don't know exactly what they took. We've asked multiple times for a real inventory description of what was taken. But the inventory list they gave us is borderline worthless. It doesn't say where the documents were located, what specifically was taken. Now we know they seized his passports, 2 of which were expired, and they gave them to his attorneys today, so he'll have them soon. But we have real concerns in terms of whether they were right to take certain things. The Department of Justice is not communicating with us as to what the evidence is and what their intentions are, but we will continue to try to get to the bottom of it. The Department of Justice clearly has different rules for Trump than anyone else out there. The whole system truly does suffer when they write different rules for different people.
Why were you and another attorney of the president denied access to watch what was going on, and who specifically were they asking to turn off the surveillance footage?
They didn't give us a reason for preventing us from going inside the property. I even tried to get in the property just for sake of air conditioning because it was like 95 degrees outside, and they were there from 10 a.m. to 6:30, I think. But they wouldn't even let me stand inside the property where they weren't searching. They asked President Trump and I think his managers to turn off the surveillance, which they didn't.
Right. Okay. We appreciate you being with us. Thank you so much, President Trump. Lindsay, thank you. President Trump's attorney joining us with more reaction. Eric Trump is with us. Eric, you were with your dad that morning, that day, a week ago. Let's go through what you know and now these new developments. But I also want you to stand back and look at the 6-year history that I just laid out here. I mean, you have a guy by the name of Peter Strzok saying, we will stop him. This is in the summer of 2016, leading into your father's election. Then if your plan doesn't work, don't worry, we have an insurance policy. It's like if you're the unlikelihood that you die before, if you're 40 or below 40. He actually said that. None of these people that signed these FISA warrants were ever held accountable. How can we say we have equal justice in this country and all those people got away with it?
Sure. Well, we can't, Sean, because we don't. And you know, the one thing I'll tell you, it's caused the greatest fundraising. My father's poll numbers have absolutely gone through the roof. They're not even talking about any other Republican candidates because they've all kind of, disappeared. They're not even in the equation. I mean, last night I had an argument between two people in a restaurant who are trying to buy Laura and I dinner to apologize to what for what the United States government has done to our family, Sean. I mean, you wouldn't believe the energy out there. I've been through all of these firestorms over the year. I've never seen America more mad than it is right now. There's only so many times you can cry wolf. People are not buying the sham in the country. They see the weaponization of the FBI. They're calling it the police state in this country. People get this for what it is, Sean. They've removed the wool from people's eyes, and people know exactly what's going on. They're targeting Donald Trump. They're targeting his family. They're targeting everybody around him. They're targeting his lawyers. Anybody that's close to Donald Trump, anybody who's effective, they're targeting right now, and people understand this for exactly what it's worth.
I named all of the names, all the people that signed the FISA warrant. I read the text of Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. I read the list of every conservative associated with your dad and these pre-dawn raids, guns drawn. In some cases, the media tipped off so they can capture it all on camera at 5:45 in the morning. How convenient. And now your own father's home has been raided, and they just started taking boxes out randomly and going through Melania's wardrobe, apparently, as well. And the question is, back in June, your father offered to give them everything. Isn't that true? The room that they asked him to padlock, which he agreed to?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sean. My father has been so cooperative. I mean, and that's what doesn't make sense to the whole family. My father said, anything you guys need, let me know. Anything you need, let us know. Like, I mean, the lawyer, when I first told him about this, he goes, I can't believe this. Like, we had the greatest relationship with these people. Your father literally was with them in early June.
By the way, they put that in writing.
Anything they need at all, you let us know, and we'll give it to you.
They put that in writing in February of last year, February of this year, they said, you've been so cooperative. So this really isn't about, isn't this really about a fishing expedition, January 6th, taxes, or anything else, if your father spit on the sidewalk? Isn't that what they're really looking for?
Absolutely, it's a fishing expedition. I mean, they pulled the warrant on Friday. They didn't actually execute the warrant until Monday. So when I hear about these nonsense speculations about nuclear codes, okay, so, FBI agents were so busy on a weekend that, over nuclear codes, they waited 4 days. I mean, it's nonsense. Sean, it's absolutely fishing. And, it's the exact same playbook that they used during Russia. The exact same reporters are being leaked information that were used as the sources for the whole Russia hoax. I mean, go line up all the reporters who were getting inside information, unsolicited information during the Russia hoax. They're the exact same people that the FBI are leaking to now. It's the same reporters reporting on the same thing, the same story. They're going to their friends in the Democratic media, who are effectively the lobbyist arm of the Democratic Party, and they're leaking stories about Donald Trump to hurt him. We're 90 days out, Sean, from the midterms. Yeah. It's not surprising. This timing is not surprising, and it's backfiring on these people.
Will you still have the surveillance tape? Is that correct? Are you allowed to share that with the country?
Absolutely, Sean, at the right time. And your body cam point was spot on. That's why cops wear body cams. They don't tell you to turn off cameras. They want transparency, and that's not what happened here.
And for a fact, they asked for the cameras to be turned off.
They asked for the cameras to be turned off.
Wow. All right. Eric Trump, unbelievable times. Thank you for being with us. When we come back, more outrageous.